Right. Let us begin and resume plot. Kazuma seems hesitant. Excuse me, explorer, mercenary, adventurer. I wouldn't dream of bothering you, but this hardly seems like a time to overburden the valiant soldiers of the Radiant Host. I just need a further my current research. The complicated part is harvesting said ingredient without being murdered by the local wildlife. Would you be so kind as to venture into the hills and fetch me some bark shavings from the trees which grow there? Here, I'll lend you my special bark stripping knife. Please take care not to lose the knife. It's made from giant skull and was very upset. I regard you with mild annoyance. Are you just going to stand there and watch me work? I'm really quite busy, you know. Here, make yourself useful and distribute this coordination among the couriers at Giant Skull Grounds. I'll pay you for making the delivery if that's what you're worried about. Well, someone's not a happy bunny. Arkasoda youth seems to be trying to catch your attention. Are you an adventurer by chance? If you're looking for work, I could use some help sorting out what's left of the hatchery. You'll come then? Good. It's just a ways north of here. Misunda appears utterly distraught. Oh, Ham, where could she be? Please, you must help me. She's gone. My daughter related to Orzi and Dodo. They're not exactly swift on their feet, so you'd expect she'd be easy to catch. And yet I can't seem to find her anywhere. What if she falls into the sea? What if some Roman predator tries to make a meal of her? I can't bear the thought of it. I'll keep scouring the immediate area, but I'll be most grateful if you could search the wilds to the north of here. Oh, my poor Ham. Thing is to the north. Greetings, stranger. Prepared by the great work alchemists, this oil can be used to reinforce points and edges of stone-cutting tools. You brought our coating agent. The alchemists must be up to their necks as they're asking outsiders to run their errands. They usually prefer to make such deliveries in person. Are they eating? I'll wager they're not eating. Maybe I should cook a pot of something and pay them a visit. Who are you then? Ah, our magic alchemy oil. If we don't coat our tools in this stuff from time to time, we won't so much as scrape the giant skull. I'd like to be mining rock with a wooden spoon. The durability is what makes it worth quarrying, though, and it's a fine ethereal conductor to boot. You ever need a material like that, you know where to find us. Come to see the master quarriers at work, have you? Oh, my mistake. Seems you were here on a job of your own, an important one at that. Without a steady supply of coating oil, things around here would grind to a halt. Giant Skull is one of Thavnir's most sought-after resources, and we don't want to be caught low in stock when the trading ship starts to leave port again. There next. Look at this place. It's a shame what they did to it, those villains from the tower. I wish you could have seen the hatchery before all this happened. Until only very recently, it was busy as you please, selling meat, eggs, poison extracts to eager merchants from across Thavnir and beyond. But lamenting the facts won't undo what's done, will it? Let's get to work. Your task will be to sprinkle the nest with this pungent solution, which should keep the wildlife from making their lairs in the ruins. Most creatures won't come within 10 miles of it, but the Hamsa don't seem to mind the smell. And although we should probably clear away those old nests, while we're at it, I want the birds to have a familiar sight to come back to one day. Anyway, if you get on with the sprinkling, I'll start shifting the rubble. We have half a dozen vials of that solution, so don't be afraid to slosh it around. The smell of this liquid is said to repel wild creatures, ineffective against Hamsa and adventurers. Why do evil things have to look so cool? And look at it. So dark and ominous and... Ah. You find a large egg among the nests. Even covered in the sink of solution, it may prove too tempting for any nearby predator. It might be safest to hand the egg to Arkazola youth. Found an eggie! There's an eggie! Eggie! Look, eggie! Oh damn, oh, what's that you have there? A large and apparently freshly laid Hamza egg. You found a Hamza egg? One of them must have found their way back here to... Whether the mother can return to Hadja, however, is another story. I realise we only just begun clearing up here, but I think it's best to get this egg back safely to the Great Work. Next up, over here. A number of feathers litter the ground here, whatever shed them may still be close by. That one's all yours, Florida. Ham appears to be unhurt and wholly unfazed by her little adventure. Return the wayward Hamza to Veensdua. Okay. All questions done. Back we go. The blood lily blooms once again. Sorry to have you running back and forth, but this is very important to me. While I'm grateful to the alchemists that let me work here, my true passion was raising birds at the hatchery. After the incident, I didn't think there was much I could do aside from tidying up the mess. As soon as you've handed me that egg, though, I felt hopeful again. Where there is new life, there is new beginnings, and the Hamza hatchery deserves to rise again. It isn't much, but please take this in exchange for the gift you've given me. Oh, I do hope nothing awful has befallen her. The Hamza accepts its capture without so much of a chirp of protest, its eyes vacant and trusting. Ham! You found her! I'm honestly surprised she made it that far north. Was she trying to return to the hatchery, I wonder? You may have noticed some ruined buildings up there. Those are the remains of the Hamza hatchery. a place of great cultural and historical significance. Until its recent destruction, it seemed like an indelectable landmark. They were able to relocate some of the breeding birds to the stables within the city proper, but many, like the precious Ham, simply scattered across the countryside. One day, when things have settled down and the hatchery is rebuilt, I hope they return these wayward chicks to their former owner. I shall be sad to see them go, but while we have Hamza here, however, we can harvest their poison glands for use in various alchemical mixtures. Not to mention, enjoy their placid and entirely agreeable company. Here, this is for bringing Ham back safe and sound. Be sure to pay her a visit once her old home has been restored to its former glory. Aren't hams the fluffiest, sweetest, most accommodating creatures you've ever seen? You can pet them, eat them, you can even use their glands for acrimonious purposes. Just superlative animals all around. You again? I thank you for delivering those goods. We have a relationship with the Quarriers, which stretches back for generations, and abide in respect for difficulties we face. As such, I'm glad your timely delivery prevented any undue loss of labour. One day soon, I'd like to sit down and share a drink with our stone-cutting friends. Please, take your payment and leave me to my work. As I said, I'm really quite busy. Fine then, be like that. I can't see that it's a looking sparrow when I'm working, but it's still there lurking in the back of my mind. Ah, you're back. Have you brought the bark and my knife? A razor-sharp blade carved from giant skull. A small pile of bark shaved from a hillside tree. Yes, this smells absolutely wonderful. I can already imagine the fragrance when I next craft the batch of incense. I'm studying various methods for enhancing the effects of incense, you see, specifically the scents which promote a calm and tranquility. And with everything that's been happening, well, we could all do with a dose of calm and tranquility, couldn't we? Life can be trying at the best of times, and I'm hoping my research will help people endure the worst of them. Thank you kindly for your insistence. Procuring raw materials for work has proven difficult recently. We have ample stores, of course, but with little trade coming in from outside, I wonder how long they will last. Ah, good, back to plot again. Ah, welcome back, Elita. Dare I hope you have the giant skull? A hempen sack filled to the brim with chunks of the purest giant skull. Oh my! Such fine specimens! Thank you so much for bringing these. We now have everything we need to make our next prototype, one that should be capable of passing the most vigorous tests. When it's ready, it'll be time for the true test, so please take your ease while you can.
I see our taskmasters have allowed you a moment's respite as well. You have to hand it to these alchemists. They are determined to see this endeavor of theirs succeed. I've never been one for blind optimism, but I sincerely get the sense they're close to a breakthrough.
They had better be, or all this effort was for naught.
The peoples of Eorzea, of the Far East, of Thavner, children of this star united in common cause against a dire threat. Yet ere they succumbed to suicidal madness, were not the Telophoroi born of her body as were we? They who cling to life and the promise of the morrow's dawn, against they who desire death and an ending of their own orchestration. The victors of this war alone will hold the right to answer the question of existence, of its meaning, and its worth.
Poetic and ominous to a fault. That said, if it's an existential debate in nature, then our arguments might not be as persuasive as you'd think. Fandaniel wants to die and take everyone with him in an orgy of pain and suffering. An utterly vile and unforgivable idea. And yet, and spat upon by fate and wailing in the deepest pit of despair, who among us can say they have not entertained similar thoughts? There are nights black as pitch, bereft of hope, and no words of comfort can reach you. And it's all you can do to grit your teeth and choke back the bile.
The more you see and suffer life's injustices, the more difficult they become to bear. Vengeance is nurtured in similar soil. Though your anger has a broader focus, the sentiment is much the same. A fervent desire to destroy others, to see them drown in torment, as you have.
That about sums it up. The will to endure is not always as strong as the urge to burn it all down and salt the earth. Survival be damned. It's a struggle, often close and brutal.
Indeed. Well, I, for one, shall pray survival proveth more appealing in the end.
As will I. Besides, our chances are much improved when we've the company of others committed to the cause of life. Our vengeful dragoon here is proof of that.
I like how
What
they all
is it?
just like
What
wait.
did you see? Fandaniel, are you sure? If he knows we've been working on a countermeasure.
It holds. The vessel holds! This is the one!
At long last! Look! We have finally created a talisman strong enough to withstand our experiments! We've named it a warding scale for the time being. With this in your possession, your soul should be completely shielded from corruptive ether.
Yay!
Afforded such protection, any one of us may approach the towers without fear. Thou hast mine admiration. 'Tis an invention of historical significance.
I thank you for your kind words. But I would prefer you keep them unsaid until we test the talisman's efficacy in the field. It is for the next stage of our plan that we summoned you in the first place, to accompany me to the Tower of Zot. should the scale prove effective, as I very much hope it will, then you'll have little to do. But should the effect be weaker than anticipated, I must ask that you restrain me, or knock me senseless.
Let's hope it doesn't come to that.
Either way, we are fortunate to have you with us.
Nidana, are you certain you wish to do this?
If others are to trust our creations, then we must have faith in them first. And as the senior researcher, it falls to me to lead by example. But should I fail to return, then learn what you can from this attempt and apply it to the next. Our work must continue. Is that clear?
We'll keep an eye on the place while you're away. Assuming Fandaniel is lurking about, there's no telling what mischief he has in mind for us, or you. Be on your guard.
Shall we be on our way? I'll have one of the soldiers at the hatchery prepare us a boat, and we can set out from the northern shore. I'll see you there.
The satrap has granted you use of this boat. May it serve you well. This is rather a finer boat than I expected, but I won't complain. All that remains is to board and be on our way. Oh, and if it should become corrupted, do not stay your hand. Of course, I pray it does not come to that, but you must protect yourself. Other alchemists can fulfill my role, but you and your blessing are one of a kind. And perhaps our only hope for toppling this tower. For all our sakes, do not hesitate to do what must be done, whatever that may be. Well, the longer I draw this out, the more nervous I become. Let's be off.
We should soon cross the threshold of the tower's influence. any moment now. It's working! And you are still yourself? Then I'd like to see how it fares closer to the tower if we could. So far, so good. The scale's protection appears to be holding. If we can just make it to the tower's entrance. A few more steps.
Looks like she's barely holding it in her hand.
Praise be to the sisters, we made it! And the scale has proven itself to be everything we hoped it would be. Now we can focus on production. Once we've equipped and returned with an entire survey team, this menace will soon give up its secrets.
What?
Let me go! Oh!
Oh, do calm down. You'll only hurt yourself thrashing about like that.
Daniel.
Stop! Oh, you can't do this! Please!
A little late for heroics, I'm afraid. The similarities are striking. My! Such hostility! Never before has my artistry so displeased. My patrons of old would have positively squealed in delight, though, between you and me, I find gushing praise exhausting.
Patrons of old.
Allow me to tell you a story. Surely you've yet to hear the one about Van Daniel, the sundered Ascian. I inherited the position and the soul of the Van Daniel who sat on the convocation in the time of the final days, theoretically speaking. Practically speaking, that fact is of no consequence. I was born and lived as, well, me. Eventually, I was recruited into the Ascians and imbued with the former Van Daniel's knowledge and memories, but I never felt that they were truly a part of who I am. to explain. Perhaps if I told you who I was before my Ascian embrace, although that chapter too is a past I've long since discarded. I have it on good authority you've poked your nose into an Allegan ruin or two. Yes? Then I expect you've heard of me. The old me.
At your service. Imagine a nation of unbridled prosperity. Every need met. Day after day of unbroken, unshakable peace. Existence fulfilled and ripe for decay.
You are a genius without peer, Amon. However do you conceive of such delightful experiments? That fool was beside himself with panic when he awoke with the head of a bull. Even his cries for help emerged as so much guttural lowing. Oh, the memory of it. My poor sides. My friends and I were so consumed by laughter we struggled to breathe.
No more than entertainment for bored wastrels ignorant of its worth. My all-consuming work. But it was not their only indulgence. For they were ever hungry for stimulation. Slaves to the slightest hint that amusement was afoot. Our nation was ailing, but I would see the poison purged. I resurrected a legend, our first and greatest emperor.
Wait.
And just as I had planned, he set our wayward empire back on the path of conquest. An inexhaustible ambition carried us onwards, always onwards. Yet, he who delivered to us such glory was not to be satisfied.
Heed me, Amon. No matter how vast one's empire, or full one's treasure vault, all is rendered meaningless by death. In the end, all is lost.
You know as well as I that the Emperor stands to lose this war. And so I have come to claim you. For while your methods leave something to be desired, we cannot deny the results of your work. And as fortune would have it, the seat of Fandaniel, your rightful seat, lies vacant and waiting. Take your place amongst your peers, rather than die a pointless death amidst the ashes of your doomed nation. Send one of your clones to the Crystal Tower that you might see for yourself. See what lies ahead.
The fall of the Empire affirmed the truth. Majestic and tragic, as the Emperor foresaw. Scheme as you like, build as you will, nothing endures. What is life but a brief jaunt ending in emptiness?
So easily distracted. Why, I almost left without saying farewell. As for your friend, you needn't worry. These pawns are far more useful to me alive as fuel for the primals. If you attempt to pull them free, they will die. So, enjoy tackling that conundrum with your comrades.
I hate you, Fandaniel.
We shall meet again! Not in one of these minor spires, oh no, but somewhere more suitably grandiose. Your favorite playmate is ever so eager to see.
Ah, you have returned, but where is Mistress Ndana? Mansuya preserve. Just when we succeeded in making the talisman. I must report this at once. Meanwhile, please return to the great work. Something's gone awry, hasn't it? What happened? So it was Fandaniel after all. Damn that bastard. I'm sure you wanted to do more, but you were right to return here first. We must tread warily, lest we endanger Ndana and the other captives. Thank you, just wearing a grim expression. First, we must inform everyone of the situation, Ndana's colleagues included. I will call them together for a gathering, but I think it would be best if you were the one to explain. Oh, Ndana. Can you answer me this? Though Ndana is trapped in the tower, she's still alive, yes? Then we must make warding scales, as many as we can. The prototype works perfectly. This Ndana proved at peril to herself. So let's make more scales that she had, and all those who were taken might be saved. Aye, as alchemists, this is how we'll help win the fight. My friends, the satrap has been made aware of the tragedy. He offers his heartfelt condolences and reiterates his pledge to provide you with all you require. To that end, he bade me give you this link pearl, that he might personally discuss the production of the warding scales with you. And for our Eorzean visitors, I bear an invitation. In her report, Mistress Ndana notes your vital contributions to the talisman's creations. This fact came to the satrap's attention, and in recognition of your deeds, he wishes to meet you. In addition to thanking you in person, he would also like to discuss further avenues of collaboration. And so, if it's agreeable, will you not accompany me to Razatan for an audience with His Excellency? We should be honoured, of course. Closer cooperation between our lands can only be a benefit of all. Then it is settled. Please come to the city gates east of Giant Skull grounds, and I will show you into the city. When I last visited, the city was brimming with life. I expect the tower has dampened the mood somewhat. Be it here or in Eorzea, all share in the desire to deliver the captives. Thus united, I pray that we join in common cause with the satrap. Of the satrap I own no common tidbits. Though the position is hereditary, it's not considered sovereign, and that, despite possessing considerable authority, he wields it sparingly. Given the esteem which the locals hold him, however, it's safe to assume he's good at his job. He could do far worse for an ally. My apologies. I can't let you see past this point. Yeah, okay. I gotta talk to him first. All present? Then let us proceed. Owing to the threat of the tower, the city is currently in a state of high alert, and strict restrictions are in place for entry. Though you may all have been granted special permission, I ask that you remain close to me at all times.
A vast rock squats upon Thavnair, and to its stone surface clings the city of Rods at-Han. Ye who enter here are subject to the scrutiny of gods, the gate's most watchful eye. The orb which beholdeth the truth of all things. Pass beneath its hot and piercing gaze, bearing down like a second midday sun. The fragrant haze, a mixture of sweet incense and acrid smoke. The cries of merchants mingled here with lively melodies accented by dancers' feet. Travelers seduced by vivid sound and colors were once swallowed up by patchwork streets. But no such scenes to savor now. To what somber present does that divine eye bear witness?
Here we are, Megadota. It seems a shame to bring you here directly. Under normal circumstances, it would have been my pleasure to show you the sights.
And it would have been our pleasure to see them. Alas, it seems our tour of the city will have to wait.
I'm afraid so. Come, we should head inside. Your Excellency, may I present our honored visitors?
Ah, splendid. Most splendid. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Ahawan, Satrap. Tell me your assistance was invaluable in the creation of the warding scale. Such deeds ought to be recognized in person. Thus did I have young Varshan convey you here forthwith. On behalf of my people, may I express to you our sincere gratitude.
But Nadana, she was taken.
A regrettable incident indeed. Her colleagues insist that we honor her wishes and trust in the talisman, that it will be instrumental in saving Nadana and the others. I am eager to hear your opinion on the matter, so let us not stand on ceremony. Come, sit.
I think not. This charade has gone on long enough. Show yourself.
Forgive me, but were you expecting musicians, perhaps? There are no performers waiting in the wings at present, but arrangements could be made if you'd prefer.
Nay, he hath the right of it. The time for artifice is past. Raise the curtain.
As you wish.
You travel as assistants to the students of Valdesian, but you are known to me. Even here have we heard of the scions of the Seventh Dawn.
Hey!
I am Vritra, and for years uncounted hath this isle served as mine abode.
Vritra, of the First Brood, sibling to Hraesvelgr and Nidhogg.
Aye, mine elder brothers, of Midgardsormr's spawn, I was last to hatch.
Well, isn't this a surprise? We were told Radzat Han had an alliance with the dragon. Not that a great worm sat in the satrap's own hall.
A necessary subterfuge, as the true tale of our nation history illustrates most effectively. In the beginning, the rock upon which our city is built was home to Vitra, and Vitra alone. In time, the ancestors of the Matanga came to the island and established a foothold. But never did they dare disturb the worm's lair. Next to arrive were the Aura. Adopting the example of their Akasodra allies, they too treated Vitra with reverence and respect. And for many years, an understanding between our forefathers and the Great Worm endured. Until marauding heroes from the mainland came, threatening to shatter our peace and tranquility. When it seemed all would be drowned in blood, Vitra himself came forth and quelled the rising conflict. A peaceful accord was reached, and oaths sworn in Vitra's name. Thus began the dragon's governance of the fledgling state, which was to grow into Radzat Han.
But if Vritra is still here, then your position as satrap is just...
A charade, yes. And one which my family has performed faithfully for generations.
Many envy the Great Worms their power. Were it known that I ruled here, then the fires of war would burn without end. I would not be the flame which consumeth my people. Those few who join me in laying our country's foundations were, perforce, sworn to secrecy.
Your eye. It was taken.
'Tis here, buried within the semblance of flesh. The body before thee is but a simulacrum, constructed by the finest artisans of Radzat Han. With mine eye nestled within, it doth serve as an inconspicuous vessel for my will.
Oh, that's so cool.
That would explain why I felt the presence of a dragon upon our first meeting.
I am woven with words fashioned to deceive such arcane senses. Though 'twas short-lived, it seemeth thy fusion with my brother hath left thee much altered. Destiny in warm blood. From the very first, we sensed the nature of one another. Yet did neither one of us bare his fangs. That is all I need know of thee for now.
With my secret thus revealed, I have for you a proposal. Not as a worm of the first brood, but as the ruler of Rad's Anan. With all haste must we take in hand the finished talismans and breach this foul spire. Thence, should it lay within our power, dispel its wicked influence. Yet even with the assurance of the warding scales, the narrow confines of the tower doth limit the size of our force.
And thus denied strength in numbers, thou must choose thy soldiers with care.
Just so. Yet though our radiant host is formidable, I see a surer path before me. Thou and thy comrades have contended with a multitude of primal beings. Most recently, thou didst cast down false gods in Pagalthan and Cartanau, I am told. 'Tis upon that strength I would call. The Scions have proven themselves the most capable, and I ask that you serve as the tip of our spear. Talismans would, of course, be provided for each of thy companions. And should you agree to this undertaking, more will be provided to make use of as you see fit.
There's no denying it's a dangerous proposition, but the rewards may far outweigh the risk. Just think of what we might accomplish if we could equip all our allies with warding scales.
Could turn the tide of this battle.
I worry, however, that even the four of us may be too few for what you have in mind. Might we regroup with our friends first to discuss the matter?
'Tis no trifling task that I have laid before you. Go, steel your hearts and hone your plans. Such time as you require shall be spent in crafting your protective charms.
It seems a quick trip back to Sharlayan is in order.
Wilt thou not lend thine aid?
Whether your request be made as a great worm or the ruler of Rad's Anan, I see no reason to refuse, nor will I.
I am in thy debt.
I still can't go ahead. That we should encounter one of the first foods in such a circumstance. If our course of action decides that it's not Tari. That meeting took a rather unexpected turn, but now we've a clear objective ahead of us. Let us rejoin our comrades in Sharlayan and muster a suitable crew for a foray into the Tower of Zot. Oh, and if you haven't already done so, be sure to attune to the Aetherite here before departing, unless of course you enjoy violent nausea. Petra and his alchemists have prepared us for the foray into the tower. What we may accomplish within its twisted hall remains to be seen. Let Arcosodia languish in tough royal chains, thus forewarn us of the nature of our foe. 'Tis the gods of Thavnir who will be summoned to thwart us. The conflict between Nidhogg and I is in the past, and although they were brothers, it has no bearing on my view of Vitra. Above all else, he is a leader of men, not an enemy. He would hardly dedicate his life to this endeavour if he bore our kind any ill will. Just as I was getting used to balmy Thavnir, we're back to chilly Charlayan. Take care not to catch your death, eh? We need you for the battles to come. Now then, everyone appears to be here, so let us take stock of the developments and discoveries. I returned by way of Kite's experimental ether, yet I must say it was far less taxing than our first attempt, and apparently need only ask if we wish to use it again. Now I'm terribly less eager to repeat the experience, but if you're willing to test your ethereal fortitude for the sake of technological advancement, then who am I to stop you? Yeah, they're still talking about the same stuff. Krell glances at you with expecting eyes. Since there has been progress in both investigations, shall we share the findings from our respective locales?
Your time in Thavnir has certainly been eventful. In my opinion, carrying out Vitra's request and assaulting the Tower of Zot should be our highest priority.
I agree. While I still have questions concerning the Forum and their grand undertaking, we have all but exhausted our avenues of investigation. Simply pressing them any harder on the subject will almost certainly result in our expulsion. Therefore, I suggest we explore the ethereal sea connection by way of a letter to Master Matoya, then make our way to Thavnir.
I wonder, even with the protection these talismans afford us, what can we hope to achieve once inside the tower? According to Orenvold and Fodola's report, they were unable to free the Emolja. Worse, their attempts triggered the tower's defenses, which led to a summoning of Luna Afrit.
What does it tell us that the Spires even have such defenses? Simply pulling a prisoner from the wall is fatal, thus the direct approach is doomed to failure from the outset. Any further measures to dissuade such actions seem unnecessary. Unless, of course, there is a way to free the prisoners without killing them. Then it stands to reason that any intruders will be met with overwhelming force.
The towers appeared throughout the world in but the twinkling of an eye. 'Twas by magical means these structures were raised, I surmise. A spire thus conjured must needs be maintained, and I suspect an arcane catalyst, some manner of core, doth lie hidden within. Destroy the core, and the tower ceaseth to be, thus liberating the captives without harm.
So we can hope, and I would prefer to enter the tower with a working theory than with no plan at all.
Assuming Ishtola's reasoning is correct, the chances of the defenses remaining dormant are small to none. Any primals will have to be dealt with, and defeating one will likely only lead to the summoning of another. Our every victory will only compound the prisoner's suffering.
May we not then divide our forces? Those proficient in healing will focus on sustaining the captives. That duty can be covered by Urianger, Kryl, Yostela, and myself. The remaining Scions will proceed with the search for the core. Admittedly, this strategy puts both parties at greater risk, but it should bolster our chances of saving the Archosaurus by a considerable margin.
Aren't you forgetting someone?
Of course not. As our most talented healer, we need you leading VAM, fighting primals on the front lines.
It seems we have a plan. All that remains is to carry it out. I will inform Rads at Han of our movements, so let us make our preparations and regroup near the tower.
A military post in what's left of the Hamsa hatchery should serve as a convenient staging point.
That sounds perfect. And remember, the experimental aetherite at the confluence is there for those who need it, so there's no excuse for being late.
Jeez, these prices are expensive. Experimental ether it is. There we go, much cheaper. almost there. Ah, our friend of yours here, we've been expecting you. You and yours will lead the mission into the tower, I'm told. The warden scales will be delivered soon. Till then, please stand by at the boat we have readied. When your fellows arrive, I will direct them to join you. We pray for your safety and success. If this is the future of aetherite travel, I think I'll stick to boats. Aye, no warning, however empathetic could have prepared me for that. On account of which we were a little bit late, but fighting fit mostly. My friends, permit me to thank you for accepting the mission. You must be, we should still call you Varshan, I suppose. Indeed, it would not do to confuse our soldiers. Very well then. For our part, we are humbled that you should see fit to entrust us with your warden scales. Please convey as much to His Excellency. One for each of you. Please accept them with my blessings. Thanks. With these, we can go anywhere where those blessings of light can go. Not only for this operation either, for all the ones to come. We can finally break your monopoly on primals. I've been waiting for this day. So have we, my friend. So have we. If everyone is amenable to it, let's review our strategy for good measure. As previously agreed, we will divide into two groups. Elita and her band will break through the tower's defences and locate its core. Meanwhile, the rest of us will tend to the prisoners, who will doubtless want for healing due to duress of repeated summonings. Primals, which the tower bring forth, shall be the deities of Thambarian myth. As we have no prior experience with such foes, pray exercise the utmost caution when confronting them. We commence the operation at your word, my friend. For the people of Thavnir, nay, the entire world, we must prevail. Aside from primals, within the tower we shall for a certainty encounter enthralled Imperial soldiers. Defenders can fade hither by means unknown, who will stop at nothing to hinder our efforts. Lest you worry, I have not forgotten my healing spells. Be it restoration or destruction, the sorceress can command whatever magic the situation requires. This is the closest I've been to one of the towers. Such a sinister aura it exudes. It's been a while since I took the field, and I can't help but feel nervous. But with everyone by my side, I'm sure it will all be well. Though our parties are separate, I will trust in you, as I know you will trust in me. Let's both give it our all, and add another rousing chapter to the saga. This is the closest I've ever been to one tower, such a sinister aura it exudes. It's been a while since I last took the field, but I can't help but nervous. With everyone at my side, I'm sure we'll all be well. The Radiant Host and I will be watching from the outpost, ready to act at the first sign of unusual activity. May the scales serve you well and protect you in lieu of the Beech's fangs and claws. With the Astola keeping them company, the other party will be able to hold their own against the enemy if needs be. So we can tackle our own task without worrying over them. Come, let us be about it. First this armor, blessed with the Radascore's power, and now Vitra's scales. Much has changed for dragons to show me such favour. And with Nidhogg with me, spirit in hand, no obstacle will bar our way. My warding scale is safely tucked away. I'm ready when you are, Elita. I may not be the Azure Dragoon, former or otherwise, but I guarantee I'll give as good as I get. I may have taken up new arms, but my role is unchanged. I am a healer through and through. Yet in knowing who once wore the sage's mantle, I wonder, when it's all said and done, will I look back on the battles and choose to fight with pride? This place looks so creepy. to him.